Folks, is we're going to do a version of Hoochie Coochie Man by Muddy Waters to get you started on improvisation, using a couple of little riffs, and there's a solo that I've put on the sheet. So what we'll do first is we'll just check your chords and everything so that you know the chords. Mainly there's three chords, which are A7, D7 and E7. Okay, and I've written out a chord chart, a rhythm chart. For some folks might, want to start off on rhythm just to get into it and just warmed up a bit, which I think is always a good idea. So it starts on an A7. So if you just try that A7 there, and then the next chord is a D7. I've got an open D7 there at first, just to try the open D7, and then round about bar number 15 on the sheet, I'm your Hoochie Coochie Man, with the chords on it. It's an E7. Yeah. Okay, so
Is this just the chord sheet you're looking at now, Gary? Or
yes, yeah, we're looking at the one that's, if you're a relative beginner, try playing these before you start on the riff. It's this sheet here. Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
It's that one there. Yeah. So we'll have a little look at that one. Yeah. Now then, some of you will know the bar chords already. So just to go through the bar chords, I think there was a prep sheet sent out for that, was there, Ronnie?
Yes.
Bar chords. So that's an A7, and then at the 5th fret, just going across with this shape here, this is the D7, and then up at the 7th fret, the E7. Okay, so we'll do that first. Now there's some rhythms in here which fit the backing track. It's not, when it comes to just playing the rhythm through the track, it's not really that important to stick to exactly what's written on the first part. It's mainly just a little bit of a guide. So I've just put a rhythm guide in that just goes like this. But you can play, there's much cooler rhythms than that. If you can just make up your own rhythm if you want. Something like that. It's just a guide. So something like that on the A7. But then just before bar 11, there's a triplet there, and I think the triplet is important to play really. So there's a triplet rhythm like this. Okay, so let's just try that triplet rhythm. I'm just using downstrokes. You can use down, up, down, down, up, down, but to bring it out and emphasize it, the downstrokes always sound good. But you could do something like this. Yeah, so you're doing the down, up, down like that. So you choose what you want to do, and we'll just run through that bar number 10, just a few times, get you used to that triplet rhythm. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep it going, just go through that. Yeah, okay, so that's a good part to put in there, which then after one bar goes to the D7 chord, and the D7 just goes something like this. Which just fits with the rest of the song. On the other part, the other guitar part is like a 12-bar blues shuffle like that, yeah, which is on the other sheet. So let's go through these chords first. Okay, I'm going to start off at bar number 2. Okay, and we'll play it without the track first, and I'll put a metronome on, and we'll just have a little run through those chords. So just follow the sheet as closely as you can. that metronome is around about 70 beats per minute. Can you all hear that okay? So we're going to start off with bar 2 after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do the triplets. D7 and an A7. Go up to an E7, D7, then A7, D7. Back to bar 3. Bar 6, 7, bar 9, triplets. Now. Up to the E7, D7, okay, we'll stop there for a second. Now I'll explain something about the structure on the track. What I've done is I've put in a 12 bar loop in the middle of the song, so that you can improvise over the 12 bar, which is a little bit easier than improvising over the structure of the song without having the vocals there. So that starts on bar number 19, okay? So it's just a standard 12 bar. So anything you want to play over this 12 bar, for people who are really familiar with the chords and think they might want to take it a bit further, could do something like, you just do a 12 bar shuffle for the rhythm, yeah? Or you could do, if you're really adventurous and you want to push that a bit, do it at the 5th fret like this and get your fingers stretching a little bit. Some of the more advanced players could do that. And then change whenever the chords change and just count those bars. Okay, so we could try also a walking bass line, yeah, using the notes of each of the chords, you know, so the root, 3rd, 5th, something like that, yeah. Make something up around those patterns there. Now then, if you're more comfortable just sticking with the basic chords, let's do it that way. Okay, so let's try it with the basic chords, and the more advanced players who might have another idea they want to practice, like a 12 bar shuffle or something, can just throw that in, okay? So let's start from bar number 19, standard 12 bar. I'll put the metronome on. I'm going to increase the speed a little bit. It's about 74. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4, D7. And an A7. E7. D7 and A7. And back to bar 19. Okay, and then after twice round, it goes back to the verse structure again. Yeah. Okay, so that's an option for people who don't really don't feel comfortable doing the riffs yet. And now we're going to look at the sheet with the riff on, which looks like this. It's the guitar parts that are tabbed. There's two sheets, these two here, yeah. And we're going to have a little look at the riff, okay, and go through that before we try it with the track. And then as we're going through this, just make a note of any problems that you might be having with this, and then when we've gone through it, we'll stop and maybe have a chat about one or two things, go through one or two bits in detail. Okay, so the riff, it's based on a pentatonic scale, and I believe that Ronnie sent you some pentatonics, A minor pentatonic. On some of the solo stuff that I've transcribed, there's a blues scale note, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So on the first part, the riff starts on the third beat, but it's on the and of 3, so it kind of goes like this: 1, 2, 3, like that. And that's how the riff starts, yeah. And it repeats a few times. Where I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times before we come into the triplet rhythm. So what we're going to do is we're just going to loop that riff. We'll just go through that riff. Just have a little look at it. If you need a few seconds to look at it, just put your hand up if you want to take a little bit more time. We're going to do it about that sort of tempo there. So see what this, that's about 79, so that's a little bit fast, so knock it down a little bit to 76 BPM, okay, and see how if you're comfortable with that. So let's try that. I'll put the metronome on and then I'll give you a count and we'll come in with the riff. After 3, 1, 2, 3. One more before the triplets. Okay, and we'll stop there just for a moment there. Any problems with that riff? Is the tempo too fast, or should I slow it down a little bit?
Don't forget, if anybody's got an issue, just put your mic on and just say your name, and then Gary can come straight to you then. Otherwise, we'll just assume it's okay.
Yeah, we'll drop. Yeah,
I feel like I've suddenly been transplanted into a guitar planet where everything's going a bit faster than I expected.
Well, let's drop the tempo then.
So, I mean, I might be the only one, but maybe just a tiny bit slower.
It's fine. Did somebody have the hand up? No, I thought somebody else did. I'll drop it down to 70. This is 70. And I'll just play the riff for you, so it's like this. Is that better? One other thing you can do is you can miss one out. Just do one, miss one out, and then just come in every 2 riffs.
Actually, it's not playing that on its own. It's like just suddenly doing all of that and then moving into the next thing. And
all right, yeah, and then following the
it'll be all right. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So we're just going to loop that riff. We're not even going to count how many times we do it. We're going to loop it to get used to playing it. Okay. So let's just go until somebody wants to stop. Yeah, we'll try that. After 3. 1, 2, 3. Is everybody getting that okay? Yeah, okay. Right, now then what we're going to do is we're going to go just before the triplet rhythm, and on the triplet part, which on this sheet is on bar number 10. It's a power chord, an A power chord. So you just hold down the 2nd fret on the D string and then play the 2 strings together, the A string and the D string, with the fretted note on there like this. And we're just going to mute that slightly as well. So to use a little bit of a mute, like that, yeah? Okay. Then, after that we go to a 12 bar blues shuffle on a D. So that's on the D and the G string, like this. Hold down the 2nd fret of the G and play. Then go to the A, with the blues shuffle on the A. Then the blues shuffle on the E, and then the D, and we're just going to stop there, just going to go to there, yeah? So we're going to start from bar number 10, triplets, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Blues shuffle, and again on the D, then drop down to the A. Then to the low E, and then the D, and we'll stop there, yeah? Now, should we practice that a few times, do you think? Yeah, we'll go through that a few times. So we're going to go from bar number 10, triplets on the power chord. So that's, you count it 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, for those of you who are unfamiliar with that type of rhythm. So let's try that after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, triplets. To the 12 bar blues shuffle on the D. And back to the A, drop down to the A. And to the low E. And to the D. And just stop there, yeah? Okay, right. Now then, the next bit after that, we're going to practice this over and over a few more times, don't worry, but we'll just have a look at the next part, which is the turnaround, and it's got a little, it's on bar number 17, and it starts on the low A, so, and then it goes to the 5th fret of the D string, then it goes down chromatically, which is just 1 half step at a time, 1 fret at a time. That's the first part, so it goes. And we're just going to do up to there, yeah? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and stop on just that 2nd fret there. 1, and again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Okay, yeah, now then after that, it goes like this. It's a little sort of chromatic minor third, major third. That's on bar number 18, so starting at the beginning of bar number 18. Yeah, so that's a little riff there. Why don't you practice that for just a couple of minutes or so? Just practice from 17 up to halfway through 18 like this. Just do something like this, the turnaround. Just up to that low E, just there. Just practice that a bit.
Silence is golden. But for residential courses being like this, Gary.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, when you can just switch
Yeah.
off and everything's quiet. Oh, Viv's got a question.
Got a question? Yes, Viv.
Hang on.
Sorry, you need to
I'll unmute.
unmute your volume. Yeah.
What's the best fingering to use? My fingers are getting crossing.
Right. Okay. On the descending part, I would start with the little finger on the 5th fret. Then use the 3rd finger. Then the 2nd and the 1st down like that. Yeah.
Again, please.
Start with the little finger here like this.
Yeah.
3rd finger.
Okay.
2nd finger.
Got it.
And index finger.
Okay.
Like that. And then when you get to the bottom, yeah, so you just go on the end part there, yeah. Okay, so okay, just to remind everybody that when we do this with the track, that there is, if you think you need to practice this more after the lesson tonight, to get it right, you can sit back on the chords if you want to join in, and then if you feel confident doing the riffs, just put the riffs in, and when it comes to the 12 bar, if you're confident doing a solo, just get started on that as well. So there's various different levels there that you can choose. So bar number 17, once again I'll play that for you. Okay, should we try that? Should we practice that a few times? Yes.
Yeah, loop it a bit. Something.
Let's do it. We'll loop it a bit. Yeah. I'll put on a yeah. Okay. I'll just count you in each time. Yeah, because it stops in halfway through the bar. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now then, let's add the last bit, which takes us back, the turnaround part, which takes us back to the beginning again. We've all heard that riff before. So it just uses that little riff on the end. So with the turnaround and that Manish Boy type riff, it just goes. And then we're back in. Back into that, yeah? Into that little riff. Okay. So let's try from 17, okay? And just have a little look at the end bit, so it goes. Now then, that last A note is at the top of the page on bar number 3. It's the first note of bar number 3. So this is the hard thing about following repeats and following sheet music, is that you have to look at the music and then look away from the guitar sometimes. So you might have to practice doing that. Then the next stage is just learning it so you can play along with the track and not have to look at any sheet music for any guides. Okay, so from bar 17, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then back into the riff. Okay, this time we'll do it with the metronome. I'll give you a count in from bar 17. 1, 2, 3, 4. And keep going. On bar 5, 6, 7, shuffle on the A chord to the low E, turn around, and back to the top again. Triplets. Low E, D, and the turnaround. Go to the second page. Just do a 12-bar shuffle on a 12-bar, standard 12-bar blues, yeah? Bar 21, 22, to D7, 23, 25, 27, and we'll finish there because then that's just a repeat, you know, it's a loop that goes around. So on the actual track, the audio track, it goes around that section twice, and there's a written solo the first time, and then I've just improvised a solo the second time, which I haven't written out. I just improvised it. What I encourage you to do is follow the written solo for some guides first, and then improvise your own ideas after that, or practice improvising your own ideas over the 12-bar loop, which is a really good introduction to improvisation. So before we play the track, all we need to do now is learn the ending. Okay, the ending. What happens in the structure? At the bottom you'll see it says D-S al coda, and it's what that means is that after you've played the two solos, yeah, the two solo loops, you go back to the verse again at the top of page 1, bar number 3. You see that squiggly line with an S, that's the sign, and then you go all the way down to bar number 15, and then just go to the end bit, 31. So after you've done everything, go to the top again, go to bar 15, and then jump to 31, which is the last line of page 2. Yeah.
Gary, I'm always interested. We normally go this navigation through like a sheet.
Signpost.
Who has actually picked it up? Who out of all of you could actually say what Gary's just said? Going, how would you lead the way through that sheet? Andy.
Yeah.
Andy, give you a go and you check him, Gary.
Yeah, Andy. Yeah. Stick your mic.
Unmute. Okay, Andy.
Could you talk me through it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so from the top then, go all the way through to bar 30, end of bar 30, whiz back up to the beginning again, all the way through to the end of 15, then back down to coda, 31, all the way through the end.
Excellent, yeah, thank you very much. But with repeats, yeah. But that's something I'll just go over that now. But obviously you meant with repeats as well, yeah. So the first page is repeated, and the 12 bar on the second page is repeated as well, okay? So you go from bar number 3 to number 18, and then you do 3 to 18 again. Then you go through to the 12 bar and you do the 12 bar twice. Then you go back to 3, down to what Andy was saying, down to 15, and then jump to 31, okay? Now that might seem like a lot to take in, so that's why we've been doing it in sections. If you get lost, just try and listen for, you know, for a chord or two. I'll shout the chords out, and then even if you get lost in the sheets, you know, I'll try and keep you right. Okay, so we're just going to have a little look at the ending first, because when we come to bar number 15, we're on an E chord, so we're doing this E 12 bar shuffle like this. And it just goes to 31, and all it does is it just stops on a D. It just stops on the first beat. It's a dead stop on the first quiver of the bar, and you leave the rest of the space free. And on the track you'll hear a little drum fill that keeps you in time. So we go, 'cause I'm a Hoochie Coochie Man, and then everybody knows my name. And you just end the song like that, yeah? So what we're going to do to get this ending, get you used to jumping to the coda on the end of the sheet, yeah? We're going to start from bar number 14, yeah? 14, we're going to go A7, then E7, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. Andy, would you be able to mute your mic again, please? Thank you. That's brilliant, thanks. Okay, so let's try that from bar number 14, please. 14. So have a quick look at that. I'll give you a few seconds to find your place. Yeah, you've all got your place okay? So bar 14, 15, and then 31. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Like that, yeah. That's the cliched blues ending, but it works really well, yeah. So you know it's going to end, don't you? Because when you hear that, you know an ending's coming. Okay, so let's try that again. So same place, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4. E7. 2, 3, 4. Okay, right. How are we getting on with that? Any problems, or is everybody okay with that? Yeah, okay.
I think the other thing to say, Gary, is, you know, in these courses, you're not going to get every bit of this. It's just understanding what's there for them to practice afterwards, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Various different levels. Some people might get it straight away, and then, or some people might need a lot of practice on it. Don't worry about that. It's something for you to do. That's what part of the package, isn't it? Really, Ronnie.
It is.
Just having stuff to take away with you and practice. So basically, what we could do now is we could go through this with the track and just play the rhythm parts, yeah. And it's about, I think it's about 4 minutes long or something like that, yeah. 4 minutes 18, so it's quite a long tune. Let's see if you can keep going for the 4 minutes and not run out of Duracell batteries. Okay. Yes, Kate, yeah.
Can you every now and then shout out what bar we should be at whenever it looks like it's about to change? Cause
Absolutely, yeah, I'll do that, yeah. I'll shout out the bar numbers, yeah. No problem.
Thanks.
Now then, you'll hear, when you play along with the track, you'll hear 3 clicks at the beginning, yeah? Because it's a 3 count, really, because it comes in after on the 3rd beat, so you get a 1, 2, 3. That's the count that you'll get, okay? So listen carefully. 2, 3. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Triplets. 12 bar shuffle. A7. To the E7. To the D. Turn around. And then just go through 12 bar loop, bar 20. Still on the A chord, yeah? Change to D7 now. Back to the A. To the E. To the D. Then go back to bar 19. Change to D7 coming up now. To the E7. A7. Now we're going to jump into bar 3 in a minute. Bar 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, triplets. Back to the A chord. Now we're going to go to the coda after this. 2, 3, 4. Drum fill. Okay. Well done. Have you got the certificates, Ronnie?
How did everybody get on with that then? It was a long spell, wasn't it? Lots of playing. Did anybody get lost?
You got lost, David? Yeah, okay.
David got lost.
Yeah.
Right, okay, right.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, it's easy to get lost because it's not just that standard 12 bar loop, it's counting the amount of riffs that without the vocals, yeah. And yeah, I've had a bit of experience of having to sort of do that when I've been recording new albums and stuff like that. You sometimes have to go along with a very rough guide vocal and it's hard to concentrate. So anyway then, that's the rhythm parts sorted, yeah.
So you got backing tracks for that, Gary, and also a video, haven't you? So
yeah, there's a backing track and a video. The video is the same length as the track, but then it's got at the end of the video clip, there's a video of the solo that I've put in. So I think we should look at some of the solo stuff right now. First of all, we should look at the scale pattern. You know, just the basic A minor scale pattern, A minor pentatonic in the 5th fret. Some of you might already know this, and some of you might need to use the sheet that was fired out by Ronnie. So it starts at the 5th fret. You can go up to here or you can go up to the 8th fret, but we'll just go up to the 5th fret for now because it completes 2 octaves. So we're just going to go, use alternate picking and come back down like that, yeah. That's usually where the problem is, when you get to the top of the mountain, getting back down, yeah. So try that again. 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we'll try it with the additional note on the top. So we're going to cover all the frets from 5 to 8. So we're going to add this note at the top here. Yeah, so we'll try that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And come back down. Yeah, so there's that one, which is the basic pattern. Okay, now then, I think the idea of this course was to just go into basics at first, but you know, of course on the sheets there might be some other options, and if anybody's done a guitar weekend before, in your white folder you should find some other patterns. If you find that you want to move up the fretboard a little bit, that's maybe for another night, but you know, you can have a look at that and look at your different patterns, which we don't really want to dwell on those too much right now. So that would be the first pattern. Then to add the note for the blues scale, okay, there's one extra note. So in the blues scale there's 6 notes rather than 5 in the pentatonic, and that note is just here, and that's a D sharp, and it's also here, D sharp or an E flat. Okay, and those notes fit into the blues scale like this. So you would, and then use your little finger for the blue note on this one, and when you're coming back down, 3, 2, 1, like that. Yeah. Did you have a question, Viv?
Just in the blues scale, see what you drop in, the 4 or the 7?
We're not on the blues. Are you playing the major scale?
No, the blues scale. So how does it differ from the major scales? My question.
All right, we're not really doing the. Well, it does. It differs a lot from the major scale. But at the moment, earlier we were doing the pentatonic scale.
All right. So how does the blues differ from the pentatonic then?
It's got one added note. Yeah.
So which is the added note? That was my question. What's the difference?
It's this one here. Yeah.
So I think it's the same as the pentatonic, isn't it, Gary? But on the A string, you add in the 6th fret.
Yeah.
But just tell me what note it is, because
D sharp.
pentatonic you drop the 4 and the 7. So which of the scale do you drop?
It's D sharp. That's the added note. You're not.
So
taking...
you add D sharp in the scale of A.
No, we're doing A
No.
pentatonic. Minor.
Hang on, if this is my fault, I just sent out the minor pentatonic scale. So you've got that then, Dave, haven't you? The minor pentatonic?
Minor, okay, I'm looking at the wrong sheet.
It's the A minor pentatonic scale you're looking at, not the major, just the minor pentatonic scale.
I'm looking at minor.
Yeah, okay, minor pentatonic. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
Okay,
the one with the simple pattern.
I'm all right now. All right, thank you.
Good. Okay. Now.
We have to add in one extra note, don't we, Gary, on that minor? So you can draw it in yourself.
Yeah, add an extra note, but we'll just go through it first. And
Just count the frets out, Gary, and then see how it relates. Okay.
So the 5th fret on the E string, 5th fret, that's A note. Then little finger on the 8th fret. Then move to the 5th string and do 5, 6, and 7. Okay, then move to the D string and do 7 and 5. Then move to the G string or the 3rd string and do 5, 7, and 8. Then move to the B string and do 5 and 8. And then do 5 on the E string. And if you want, you can add this note as well. That covers all the space of those 4 frets. Yeah. So this is the blues scale. Okay, practice that for a minute or two.
Gary, you know when you got these 3 dominant chords, the A7, the D7, and the E7,
Yeah.
you always play the minor pentatonic or the blues scales over those? Is that?
Yeah, somebody's entered the waiting
Yeah,
room.
I've let him in now. That's Paul.
Yeah, okay.
Is it only ever those scales, Gary, that you would use over those for a beginner?
For a beginner, yeah, just start with that, and most of the notes fit the chords. If you've got a major chord, like or a dominant seventh with the major, it's got the major third in it. The obvious note that clashes is the C. Yeah. Now then, in the blues, sometimes you bend the C up slightly, but not quite to the C sharp, but you bend it in between the C and the C sharp like that. That's called a blue note. Yeah, so the first thing is you learn the scale, but then you learn to manipulate the notes a little bit to get the sound of the blues. So you might do something like, you might not really use this note very much, even though you can use it, but you might just bend up to it instead. So that's often the case, is bending that 7th fret. Often you can just use a little group of 3 or 4 notes to construct a solo, and a simple way of looking at it is that the top notes of the scale are good for melodic solo type things, and the bottom notes are good for riffs. That kind of thing. They're kind of blues scale riffs that you'll hear all over stuff from the 60s, 70s, all over Led Zeppelin, all over Deep Purple, anything like that.
Gary, what box of notes from the minor pentatonic scale would you use if you were starting off in this?
I would just use the one that I think, I'm surmising is on the sheet, which would be just this. If you were starting off, you'd use that and go up to that 8th fret like that. Learn how to play that with alternate picking. Get a sweet tone on each of the notes. Now then, if you put a 12-bar loop in and you do a 12-bar loop, you can just play the pentatonic scale over the loop, okay? Which I'll just check and see if I've got a loop on here, which I haven't. I'm going to just put a little 12-bar loop down, yeah? Play the scale like this. Okay, I'll start it from the beginning. So you might use something, start off as basic as going over the scale with a 12-bar loop like that to listen to the sound that's produced by each note. Now sometimes you'll play a note and you'll think that feels a little bit dissonant, which means just uncomfortable, and it might not be a comfortable note. And when I first started improvising, if I made a little mistake or a note that I didn't really like, I used to just try and play over the loop again and miss that note out and just try and find a one that suited whichever chord I was on at the time, in the 12 bar. So you're kind of moving into what suits the chords a little bit. So on an A7, maybe you could be doing something like that. That fits quite well. It resolves to A, which is the root note of the chord. So you're on an A chord there. So So you're safe. You're really safe if you play that A and you land on that when you're on the A chord. When you get to the D chord, you've got a D just here, and you can play it up and down the scale. And as long as you land on D at the right time, you're going to go back to A now and just try and link the chords together like that with safe notes in the chords. And if you want to know where they are, that's an A. That goes with the A7 chord. That's a D. And then that's an E. So you've got those three notes, and you could even just play over the loop. Go to the D chord. Just pick a simple, just think of a simple line that you can do, because often when you play a complex line and it's got lots of notes in, sometimes you can miss the chord change on the way down and just hit a wrong note, or you're playing too fast. So you keep it simple to get your ear used to the chord changes. That's a good idea. So if I'll put the loop on and I'll just play a little bit of improvisation using that pentatonic scale with some kind of easy, ideas that don't stretch above maybe 2 or 3 notes per chord, yeah? So something like this. I'm using 3 notes. Go to the D7. That's mainly using 3 notes, but I must admit I did bend out of pitch on this note. We're using 3 fret positions there, just the A, C, and the D, yeah? Yeah. So we're just using that kind of thing, yeah? I'll do that again and watch, and then maybe you should, when we put the loop on, and you should try it yourselves. So here's the loop, here we go. Stop for a bit. Go to the D. Leave a little gap. Okay, now then I added a little bit there, and I used 1 extra note maybe, so I'm only using 3 or 4 notes there and staying around that position, leaving some gaps, because it's call and response really. Think about if there was a singer singing and you're trying to fit into the gaps. So if you thought about Hoochie Coochie Man. And you can maybe, even when you play along to the track, don't wait for the 12-bar loop to come around. Just put something in the gaps, in between, and try that. So keep it simple. Now I've written out a solo here, which uses notes of the blues scale, and it starts on the 3rd beat. So it kind of comes in after this bit, and it starts like this. Just using blues scale. So it's that kind of thing, which is just some sample ideas really. Now then, I didn't purposely on this bit, I didn't really put any bends or slides or anything like that in, because I thought, why not just learn it as a little tune first and then work out which notes you can bend that might sound good, and I'll just show you. Maybe you could do that little idea at the beginning there. So it starts like this, and then, you know, so you can improvise my idea a little bit. I've kept it really straight so that you just hear the notes and no really additional parts on the audio track. So I don't know whether anybody wants to have a little go at sight reading through that solo. Yes?
Gary?
Yeah?
Gary, it's Martin. Can
Martin, yeah.
I just understand which document you're actually using right now?
Oh, it's the same one that we've just been on, but it's page 2. Yeah.
For bar 19, isn't it, I think?
It's bar number, it starts on bar number 18, but it's...
No, I need to know which document you're looking at.
Yeah, it's the I'm Your Hoochie Coochie Man with the tab on it, yeah.
Is it the one called Hoochie Coochie Man Full Score?
Yes, that's it, yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so when you look at the bottom of that page on bar number 18, you'll see that there's 2 rows of tab. The bottom row is the solo and the top row is the rhythm. Yeah. Steve, did you have a question? Or Phil's got a question, yeah?
Yeah, I think what you just alluded to there is really important about you need to start on the, say, on the A and end on the A. Start your riff on the A and end on the A.
Yeah.
And same with the D and the E.
Yeah.
That's okay when you've got like 4 bars of the same thing.
Yeah.
What about when you've got a much quicker progression?
All right, a different song with more chords in it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how does it work there? Or is that for another day? Or...
Well, it is really, but I can just go over basically if you had more chords in the blues progression, you might find that something like, let's say for example, Need Your Love So Bad by Fleetwood Mac. Then you would learn the major pentatonic and blend it with the blues, which, you know, could be a whole at least a whole lesson really doing something like that, you know, learning how to improvise over chords that follow major progressions.
Yeah.
In the blues, but we could go over that.
Well, it's interesting, Guy. We discussed this just before the course, didn't we? We thought somebody who's a little bit more advanced might want, if you've got a 2-5-1 or something thrown in there, something simple, but would test you a little bit more. But I think that's probably out of the scope of this particular lesson.
Yeah, I think with this being, you know, just a single lesson, Phil, but it's definitely something that if we were on a blues weekend, we would deal with that, and it's definitely something that we could deal with in a lesson if people were interested.
Gary, are we covering that in the improvisation one at the end of this month with minor scales?
The end of the month is the minor scale, and the song I wanted to do was Smooth by Carlos Santana, and it's got some nice chords in, so anybody who just wants to play the chords Martin, would you be able to just mute the...
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon.
It's okay, no problem, but thank you. It's just on the... It's using the minor chords, really. It's sort of like A minor. So to Phil, to answer your question a little bit, what would you do with that? Well, you would learn that's the harmonic minor, which is a bit more complex than the pentatonic. So you would have maybe, well, just the intro for that. So it's got that sort of, you know, that more sort of harmonic minor sound. So you might learn some pentatonic scales. You could probably use pentatonic over that as well. But to bring out the, you know, the sort of, I suppose, the really nice notes in those chords, in those minor chords, he uses a harmonic minor. So that would be something to learn, and you could do over those type of chords, yeah.
When we did the Little Wing, and you started off with a root note in each chord.
Yeah,
that was a real light bulb moment for me.
Yeah,
and I think this is what you're saying now with the blues, that it's if you're pretty safe if you start, do your riff, and then knock back on.
Yeah.
Change. Yeah.
Definitely, that's something to bear in mind. And then if you venture away from the root note, try and think about when you have to get back to it. And then on the 5th bar of this particular loop, you have to get to a D. So when you're aiming for that D, aim for getting to a safe note and keep that safe note in your mind. And you think you're going to get that on the first beat of the bar. And that's the safest way to go, I think. Because if you wander away from that, you can kind of go down a rabbit hole a little bit, you know. So that would be the best thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? Did
Steve, I think, wanted one, didn't he, Gary?
Yeah.
It's okay. I was confused where you were getting that tab from, but I found it was on the bar, the stave below.
Yeah, it's on the stave below. Yeah.
I found it. Yeah. I thought I was missing the sheet.
Yeah. All right. No problem. Yeah. So you've got that, which, you know, I don't know whether we'll have time really to sort of cover that, but I've thrown it in for people who are heading towards that. And some people might be on that level where they can take those ideas and they can already put in, you know, they can maybe just go with they're going to put bends in and stuff like that, slides, you know, slide up. You know, so don't be afraid to experiment with it a bit. And hopefully that solo will give you a little bit of a guide to where you can play as well. And what those notes sound like. So what I was just doing with the 12-bar blues on the pentatonic scale, do the same with the blues scale. So if I put the loop on, just go around across the blues scale. And just, you know, and just go from anywhere in the blues scale really, and just try little ideas, then try and make them into short melodies or phrases, you know. So let's think of a short phrase or melody we could use. I've put one in at the beginning of this, and it goes, and then it goes like this, something like that. Actually, it's less than that. Okay, and even if you just took that short idea, yeah, and repeated it over the chords, you'd find that most of the time it would work over all 3 of the chords, which I'll try now and see. But I might have to adjust it slightly, but I'm just going to stick around that area, yeah. Do you kind of get the idea there? So I'm really not really using many notes, and 1 or 2 things there didn't exactly fit. But you kind of just experiment a little bit and keep going on that. So that's your basics of improvisation, really. Okay, so now what I think we should do is we should go through the track again. Ronnie, do you think? We'll just play with the track. Okay.
Or does anybody want to go specifically through that, you know, that bar 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, just to make sure that they understand exactly how that works with the soloing a bit on it?
Yeah, you mean...
Does everybody understand that?
Coming in from 17 where you go to the turnaround.
Yeah.
You have to miss a little bit of the first guitar out. Yeah, and if you're going to be playing a solo, often if you're the soloist, somebody else might be playing the rhythm, which is the track. In this case, the track will play the rhythm, and you'll have that going, and you'll just come off that turnaround. interesting point there is when you finish the solo, the turnaround also works over the basic chords as well as the chords that are written on the other part as well.
Gary, in the Dropbox, I put it in just before we started, so it's all there. There are two backing tracks, isn't it? One's with the lead guitar in,
Yeah.
and the other one is without the lead guitar in. So exactly what's written in this document,
Yeah.
that's what you can play over that backing track.
That's on the first track. On the first track, it's a full track with the solo played. Yeah. And it's the one that's written. And then the second time in the middle, there's two 12-bar loops, and the second 12-bar loops is just me improvising something.
Right. Okay.
It's not written down. It's just some ideas for you to just listen to, and maybe you can pick some ideas up from listening as well. And then for anybody who wants a little bit more, there's a sheet called Improv Primer Blues Licks, which is this one. Yeah. And this one has some bends written in it, that kind of thing. You haven't seen it yet because
it's just in there.
It's a bonus. Yeah, didn't want to do it in the lesson because it would take too much time. But it's basically this kind of thing. Little riffs like that, yeah? So you... And then something like... And these will all fit in the gaps, you know, in after the riff. And then... something like that, and then another one which is nearly the same as the first one, but it's just got an extra note. Okay, so they're just little kind of Clapton-esque licks, you know, Albert King type thing, you know, so that sort of stuff. Stevie Ray Vaughan, those type of players. Listen to those, and they can improvise really well, those players, and nick their ideas.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gary, I think what we should do is go through the whole track again, the way we started off, playing it through the rhythm side of it again.
Yes.
And then people can try doing little licks of their own in the privacy of their own place.
That's right, yeah.
That. And we'll play, and then ask some questions at the end if there are any further questions.
Let's do that.
So should we start? Is everybody okay with that? We'll just play the whole thing again, including all the repeats and the codas and all that
the
sort
whole
of stuff.
lot, yeah, as written. And this
As written, all 4 minutes 18.
Full score, the one that says full score, yeah? Okay.
Full score, yeah.
Anybody who doesn't want to do the full score can follow the chords, but they're written on that sheet as well. You've got the chords written on the sheet.
Yeah, that's true.
With your own rhythm. Okay, you ready, folks? So you get a 3 count. Triplets. D7. Back to the A7. Turn around. To the beginning, bar 4. Triplets. Shuffle. relax yourselves now. Back to the top after this bar. Triplets coming up. Cause I'm a Hoochie Coochie Man. Everybody knows I'm here. I'm gonna go on the chord after this part. I'm a Hoochie Coochie